Please welcome the players of Braintree Town and Brighton and Hove Albion.
After fixtures against Whitehawk and Athletic Club, it's a third cup quarter-finals in 5 games for the Albion tonight as they travel to Essex to take on Braintree Town in the National League Cup. The Iron were faultless in the group stages of this tournament and are on a stellar run of form in the 5th tier. A stern challenge awaits this young Albion team then in the inaugural knockout phase of this competition. Well, good afternoon and welcome along to live coverage of Braintree Town versus Brighton and Hove Albion in the National League Cup. I'm Matt Drabble, your commentator for the evening, and it's a pleasure to bring this one to you from Cressing Road. Well, for the Albion, it took an unlikely 6-goal victory for Southampton out of their hands to squeeze them through on goal difference, but they gave themselves a chance with victories over Aldershot and Wealdstone, while Braintree steamrolled their way to this stage with 4 wins out of 4. Here's how they line up tonight. The Iron have a tight-knit competitive squad, and it shows in the 11 named today. Just 2 changes from their last game in this competition, and only 3 from their hugely important National League away win at the weekend. James Vennings, Matt Robinson and Kyrell Lisby are all out. The latter's brother and new signing Kyrese Lisby is in. He is joined by Che Cooper and Emmanuel Okunuwu. For the Albion, there's 6 changes from their last game in this competition and 4 from the PL2 at the weekend. Sammy Shushain was given permission to represent the Albion despite his Northampton loan commitments, but he is out the side with Yusuf Owusu coming in. There's also a place in the squad for Joe Belmont, Harry Mills and Tom McGill. They replace Joe Knight, Jacob Slater and Killian Carhill, respectively. First involvements on the bench in this competition for youngsters Tate Ferdinand and 17-year-old Darius Lane, who are among the substitutes. Well, Brighton and Hove Albion were successful in their first quarter-final of 3 they had in this tight run against Whitehawk. They were well beaten by Athletic Club in Lancing. Tonight they take on Braintree Town, who have been the best side in this competition, it's fair to say, across the group stages. 4 wins out of 4. Captain Jamie Mullins meets in the middle with George Langston of Braintree Town. Referee is Aaron Farmer. Will be Jamie Mullins to get this game underway for the Seagulls. It's been so important for the Albion of late after returning from that month out with injury. Braintree Town are taking this competition very seriously. We've seen the National League sides rotate heavily amongst their squads. It's not been the case for the Iron. They have named a strong team throughout, and they do so again tonight. This will be another big test for a very new look Brighton and Hove Albion under-21 side with those January departures. Owusu and Mullins over the ball in the centre circle. Aaron Farmer gestures towards either keeper. And we wait to get underway at Cressing Road. Finally, Farmer puts the whistle to his lips. Long diagonal by Jamie Mullins. Hooked forward by Iron. Penman is given underway early and stealing in for an early finish. Here's Jermaine Francis. Well, that didn't take long, about 20 seconds. Long ball sprayed forward by Braintree Town. Penman wasn't able to control, and Jermaine Francis strode in and rolled it under Tom McGill. A nightmarish start for the Albion. Up and under football by the Iron. Penman tried to head away, headed straight into Francis, and Jermaine Francis, who scored at the weekend, is in the goals again for Braintree Town, rolling it under McGill. Took about 5 minutes against Athletic Club for the Spanish side to take the lead. They took an early lead and then they ran riot, and Brighton and Hove Albion will have to react in the right way here to ensure similar doesn't happen tonight. Tasker bringing it forward on the right. Mullins. Back to Penman. Important that his next few touches are positive ones. Jamie Mullins in behind. Lovely bouncing ball. Intended target was Howe. Backwards it goes. Off the boot of Henry Gray, the goalkeeper. Back with Penman. Mullins. Close down quickly in the middle. Scoop towards the left wing. And runs beyond Bashir and out of play. Will be a Braintree throw. Aidan Francis Clark to take. Backwards to George Langston, the skipper. Not the best clearance by Gray, but it does sail over the head of Bashir. Blackwell, Francis Clark, good touch by Jermaine Francis. Tracking back was Harry Mills. Free kick goes the way of the Iron. And Blackwell can line one up from this right-hand side. Now all the planning and preparation takes a huge hit for the Albion inside 20 seconds. Jermaine Francis, before many had even filtered into this ground. I think it's fairly safe to say that's the fastest goal in National League Cup history, given this is the first season of the competition. Braintree looking to add a second from this set piece on the right flank. Albion's defensive line is high. Whipped in by Blackwell. McGill comes out confidently and claims. Mills. Blackwell slides in. Trying to make the challenge for the Albion was Belmont. It's up there alongside Josh Robertson this evening. Albion throw on that left-hand side. Prodded backwards. Another chance for Harry Mills. Will have some non-league experience, of course, a fair few levels below Braintree, but did a work experience loan at Burgess Hill of Sussex. Knows what it's like to play with and against men. Foul in the back of Belmont. Albion will have a free kick. Jamie Mullins will allow Penman to stride it sideways. Some minutes in the legs, or the arms rather, of Tom McGill this evening, but that's run beyond his man. And Freddie Simmons was forced into a challenge he didn't particularly want to have to make. It was Lisby that was striding in, an early yellow for Freddie Simmons. McGill just trying to roll it out to the centre-back. Lisby was quick off the mark, and Braintree have another free kick in a very promising position, and it has been a difficult start this for the Albion. 6 minutes on the clock. They're yet to really get out their own half. So Blackwell has pulled rank. 2 goals, 2 assists in the National League this season for Tom Blackwell. And this is a position of some promise. Four in the Albion wall. And Tom McGill waiting behind them, struck by Blackwell. It's into that wall. Hooked back in by Che Cooper. Harry Howell can give chase. Lisby wins it first. That's Kyrese Lisby. And Brighton and Hove Albion will have a throw. Tasker down the line. The intended target was Robertson. Headed back on. Owusu rises well in the middle. Hacked forward by Francis Clark though. Kyrese Lisby couldn't pluck it out the sky. Brighton and Hove Albion throw on that right flank. Simmons looking for Belmont. Back with Braintree Town again. Just haven't got a platform to build off at the moment, Brighton and Hove Albion. And as a result, possession keeps coming back at them. Langston, Francis Clark. Lovely dummy by Blackwell, but Mullins can escape with it. Now maybe a chance to get the Albion moving in the right direction. Mullins. Miscontrolled by Howe. Another free kick goes the way of Braintree Town, and they're in a hurry to get on with it. Langston, Francis Clark again, and a really composed and comfortable opening 9 minutes for the home side. They are well and truly taking a hold of this game. Lovely touch around his man by Clampin, and they continue to drag Braintree forward. Well read by Tasker. Harry Howell couldn't find any space up that flank. Owusu, formerly of Chelsea's academy, to Tom McGill. Spent the first half of this season on loan with MK Dons in League 2, just one division above where Braintree are currently playing their football. Francis Clark. Hacked forward by Henry Gray. Good touch by Blackwell. Francis trying to help it back out towards him. Jamie Mullins settles for the Albion, and Mills. Good start again with England under-17 international Freddie Simmons. Mullins. Belmont will lay it off to Jamie Mullins again, the skipper. Out to Mills. This is better from the Seagulls. Best spell of possession they've enjoyed this evening. And it's sent long out to Harry Howell. Simmons will start again. Charlie Penman. Mills into Mullins, starting to find a bit more room to operate in now, the Irishman. Seagulls happy to just keep it rolling. Braintree at the moment seem happy to let them. Swept across. Penman. It's unfortunate with the way that goal went in, Charlie Penman. Less of a mistake, the attempted header, just cannoning back off Jermaine Francis. Could have landed anywhere, landed right back to the feet of the forward, which was unlucky. Seagulls go hunting for the ball. Long from the iron. Mullins. And once more, Brighton and Hove Albion will settle into a pattern of possession. They won't compromise on their principles, on their patient build-up, regardless of scoreline. They have produced stranger things in this competition, a remarkable comeback victory over Aldershot in their second group game. No doubt the highlight of the National League Cup group stages across the entire competition. Seagulls had 10 men for 85 minutes in that game. Still came out with a 3-2 victory. Howe has stolen it back. Aaron Farmer has given the free kick the way of Braintree. Shannon Ruth less than impressed. Annesley. Played 35 times for Braintree in the National League this year. Mentioned that tight squad. They don't rotate often across any competition, Braintree, and it's been a large factor in their recent success. They're in a really good run of form that's carried them up to 16th in the table. Not many people gave them a prayer. It's a very difficult jump from the 6th to the 5th tier of English football. A lot of the time it's a jump from part-time opponents to full-time opponents. And they are making a very good account of themselves, the Essex-based club. Simmons closed down quickly, prodded out towards Harry Howe. Clampin will take over, and on he goes. It's a fantastic run. To the byline goes Clampin, hooked back across goal. Francis lurking, and Simmons away, winning a free kick as well. Simmons into Owusu. Well, firstly, the Seagulls have regained that element of control. Now they need to find a way of creating and carving out chances at the end of it. Maybe Harry Howell can do exactly that. Tasker down the line. Howell drifting in field. Trying to take on defenders. Running out of room. Annesley away. Confident from Harry Howell, always a willing runner on the football. Interesting without the ball that Braintree leave just Jermaine Francis on to try and prevent the Albion playing out from the back. There's a bank of 4 behind him. Sweeping up the scraps, and Brighton and Hove Albion struggling to find a way through it at the moment. Joe Belmont is leading the line. Number 73 on his back, one of those Seagulls players that's made the unexpected step up from under 18s to under 21s, accelerated by January departures. Good header, well won by Penman. Braintree throw on this near side. Francis Clark. Marley Marshall Miranda. Catching a forceful challenge from Robertson, and Ryan will get the ball moving again. Clampin already caused problems for the Albion earlier on in this half. Lovely disguised ball angled towards Blackwell. Too much on it. Skims behind for a Seagulls goal kick. Tom McGill to take. Mills. Tidy footwork. Back to Penman. Owusu. Che Cooper's gone after the ball. Robertson. Tasker can only find Marshall Miranda. George Langston spraying one long and steered backwards to the arms of McGill. Mills. Now Sahil Bashir, been in good goal scoring form recently. Bashir, 2 in his last 3 in the Premier League 2, coupled with a goal the game against Whitehawk as well. That's tidy football back to Tasker. Not got a great deal on here though, Tasker. Owusu will take over. Helped in field. Belmont with the clever flick. Couldn't quite find Robertson. Curry's Lisby. And Belmont will earn the Albion a free kick. Mullins. Okanua for company. Tasker to the feet of Freddie Simmons, and once more we see that 4-1 shape of Braintree out of possession. Problem that's presenting itself to a patient Albion side at the moment. Belmont, Mullins, now space is opening up. Bashir has Mills down the line. Mullins, clever drop of the shoulder. Sliding in was Okanua. Bashir, straight to Okanua. And driven down the line, but out of play. Well, approaching the 20-minute mark, and had it not been for a rather crazy opening 15-20 seconds, Brighton and Hove Albion would be looking rather comfortable in this cup quarter-final. Had a lot of the ball, kept it well after the opening 10 minutes. But trailed by that goal, Belmont. Howe tried the dummy, Clampin read it. Tasker couldn't get there first. Quickly bowled the ball by that Albion dugout. Penman. Belmont into Mullins, and Simmons can open up. Chance to change the angle. Driven hard and wide. Harry Howell up against Clampin. Robertson back to Owusu. Tempo just quickening for the Albion in possession. Mills, Bashir now. We'll have a run at Aidan Francis-Clark. Dragging one towards the back post, and it wasn't too far away from the head of Josh Robertson, who was leaping to meet it. Confident play by Sahil Bashir. Really fancied his chances to take on Francis-Clark, worked the space, curled it across the face of goal. and Robertson's leap couldn't take him onto the end of the ball. Henry Gray over the goal kick. One of the few players in this Braintree side, similar in age profile to his opponents today, 19-year-old New Zealand under-20 international, who's with Braintree on loan from Ipswich. Bashir. Francis Clark will have the throw on the near side. Former Luton Town youngster, part of the St Albans team that lost in the playoff final in the National League South a couple of seasons ago. Joined a Braintree team that had just won the playoff final. Owusu couldn't keep it in play. Another iron throw. Long switch by Francis Clark. Might have undersold there. Harry Howell was leaping for it with Anelsu. Clamping. Che Cooper wide of him. Lisby. Good challenge made by Tasker, and Howell was sweeping up as well. Tasker. And Robertson couldn't control. Relatively quiet evening here in Essex, Cressing Road. Stadium that's not really been used to the National League. For most of Braintree's recent history have been at a National League South club. A couple of brief journeys up to the 5th tier. One that ended in 2019 and the one they're currently on. Mills. Blackwell chasing down Penman. Belmont's done well to win that, with Francis Clark applying pressure. But Braintree have earned themselves a throw. Blackwell. Francis Clark. And there's time and space for Louis Annesley, rather, to bring this out from the back. You are just joining us on My Albion TV. It is Braintree 1, Brighton Hove Albion 0. And not too much to report aside from the opening 20 seconds of this game, in which Braintree took the lead in shock fashion, sending a hopeful ball long, which Penman headed into Francis, who was closing him down. Bounced off Francis's chest into his path, and he rolled it under Tom McGill to give the National League side the advantage. It has been quarterfinals thus far dominated by the National League clubs. In last week's quarterfinals, Manchester United were well beaten by Sutton, and Altrincham got past Newcastle via penalties. Tonight it is Brighton and Hove Albion, of course, taking on Braintree here, and elsewhere Aldershot hosting Leeds. It was exactly 4 under-21 sides and 4 National League sides that made the quarterfinals. There was no guarantee of that. Could have been 8 either way. Owusu. Guided forward by Penman. Good touch and field by Bashir. And on goes Sahil Bashir, clipped into the feet of Robertson. He's done well to try and wrestle that ball back and was seemingly pulled from behind by Okonuwu. Braintree clear long. Helped on towards Che Cooper. And Simmons goes safely back to the feet of Tom McGill. Clip long by McGill. Good bit of distribution to pick out Tasker. Belmont couldn't hold. Marshall Miranda was clipped not once but twice as he's bundled over. Making the point to Aaron Farmer. That should be a little more than just a free kick. Farmer none too interested at the moment. Simmons hooking it away. Annesley cross to Clampin. Braintree Town getting their foot on the ball again. Game that swung back and forth in terms of possession, but when it comes to chances, there's been really just one. Been a pretty quiet, cagey opening half hour. Brighton Hove Albion will have a throw. As it stands in the other quarter-final taking place this evening, Aldershot Town 1 goal up against Leeds United. So as it stands would be a clean sweep for the National League sides in the quarter-finals. And Braintree have won themselves a corner kick here on the left-hand side. Out goes Robertson. Annesley driven into the middle. Francis had a go. Owusu was there to block. Francis Clark clipped in toward Clampin. Cleverly nodded into his path. He'll keep it in play, Clampin. Annesley. Now Lisby. Hooked towards Francis and onto the roof of the net. Jermaine Francis steering another effort goalward. Did have Tom McGill wandering. Really good hooked ball in by Clampin. Looped up into an area and Francis couldn't keep his header down. Braintree 1, Brighton Hove Albion 0. First chances in some time. As Joe Belmont is tugged back by Tom Blackwell. Always a sense in this type of game that there's a point for the Braintree Town players to prove as well. Many of these players would have played in academies at one stage of their career in their younger years. Might not have worked out for whatever reason, want to test themselves against the current crop of talented youngsters. Owusu. Penman out to Mills, closed down quickly by Blackwell. Bashir. Just no space for the Albion forwards at the moment to try and create anything with. And credit Braintree Town for that. Belmont. Good strength from Joe Belmont. And Penman. Bashir to Belmont. Wales Youth International. Driven across the middle of the park. Took a risk. Got away with it. And Simmons into Bashir. Now some space for Sahil Bashir. Prodded forward looking for Robertson. And Mills was driving on as well. Cleared for a Brighton and Hove Albion corner kick. Well, that was prodded into the path of Harry Mills, who was flying forward from left back. Couldn't latch onto it. Seagulls will have a corner kick, though. A first chance this evening to try and test Henry Gray in that Braintree goal. So Mullins can take for the Seagulls. Curled in hard and low towards the near post, easily away. Harry Mills. Space to try and make something happen. Nodded out as far as the goal scorer, Jermaine Francis. Poor clearance from him. Owusu's touch wasn't much better. And Braintree will take over possession again with the throw. Blackwell, Francis Clark, lovely combination. Annesley. Careless touch by Lisby, allows Harry Howell to pounce in. Well, replacing goals has been the big problem for the Seagulls really since January. Those that have watched a lot of this 21s team will know. Albion lost Cam Perpion, 13 goals. Ifill, 10 goals. Caelan Vickers, who had 8. He's now out on loan. It's a big old hole to fill. It's a lot of contributions to try and replace. And the mantle has fallen to Joe Belmont and Aidan West, two under-18 strikers. Belmont leading the line today. Certainly haven't performed badly, but in terms of output, hard to replicate those kind of numbers, the kind of numbers that Ifill, Perpion and Vickers were putting up regularly. Bashir, though, has robbed it back high for the Albion. Runs for Harry Howell, who hit it early. Gray saved it. And Robertson was lurking. Smart save by Henry Gray, who's had next to nothing to do, and all of a sudden was called sharply into action. And the first test is met with a good, strong palm away to his right. Pot shot from Harry Howell, sat up for him to strike it. And Gray equal to it. Tom Blackwell. Another Braintree Town free kick. Francis and Mills becoming entangled, and Francis getting the decision. Granada international. Jamie Mullins, 3 orange shirts in his face, tries to thread the eye of the needle to Sahil Bashir, but Henry Gray will have a goal kick. 10 to go till half time, still the Albion trailing by that early opening goal. And Henry Gray with a chance to send this long for Braintree Town. Urges those ahead of him forward. Well over halfway, some kick by Gray, nodded on towards Francis, flag up against Jermaine Francis, must have been close. Blackwell's flick on was a good one. Seagulls will start again from deep inside their own half. Tom McGill, full Canadian international now. Tom McGill, after being with England up until under 19, switched his allegiance. Never earned a cap for the Canadian national team, but has featured in several squads, including the Summers Copa America squad. Playing between the sticks for the Albion today, and might be called into action here. Not the best clearance. Blackwell laid off to Cooper, tried the clever lob, and tried to be too clever in the end. Could see what Shea Cooper was going for. Might have been better just putting his laces through it. McGill's hurried clearance skewed towards Blackwell. Blackwell found Cooper. Cooper found the stand behind the goal. Penman up to Mills. Francis Clark in his way. Jamie Mullins. Tasker. They've done well to work themselves out of that tight situation on the near side with the throw, but have to credit Braintree's defensive shape again. There's just no holes in it at the moment for the Seagulls to try and exploit. Howell, nifty turn up the line. It's one a throw. Tasker will take over. Into the feet of Howell. Threaded back towards Penman. Wheeling in behind is Robertson, trying to knot it down. Mullins. Tasker. Penman in the centre circle. Is there a chance before the break for the Albion to level things up? Sahil Bashir running at Francis Clark, squeezing one across. It was met by Robertson. Well-timed jump, but glanced it too far wide. Jermaine Francis bringing it down for the Iron. And Lisby poking one between the legs of Tasker, winning his side a free kick. Delivery of real quality from Bashir from that left-hand side. Driven across goal. Robertson there, who timed his jump well. Couldn't beat Henry Gray. I wonder whether Braintree would be coming at the Albion a little differently if they didn't have that early advantage. Harry Howell has robbed the ball back high. It's crowded out by orange shirts. Hannesley clamping. Spots a chance to burst forward. Shea Cooper. Still battling for it. Eventually the whistle goes. Well, any number of those probably could have been given by Aaron Farmer. A few having a nibble at each other on that far side. A couple of late and careless challenges. Eventually the whistle does go. Francis Clark back to Henry Gray. Braintree seem more than content with just the one goal advantage, although they have come the closest to the second. Jermaine Francis again, his header. He's on it here, Jermaine Francis. Albion really with just the one chance. Harry Howell's shot from distance stung the palms of Henry Gray. Game's sort of going to form in this competition. Mentioned it ahead of kickoff, but Braintree steamrolled their way to this point with comfortable victories over Nottingham Forest, West Brom, West Ham and Tottenham. In a perfect group stage performance, 4 wins from 4, scored 11 goals, conceded only 5. Brighton and Hove Albion, and it looks slightly differently. Needed a freak 6-0 result for Southampton away at Maidenhead to produce the goal difference swing to squeeze them through. Here's Lisby. Space ahead of Lisby. He's driving towards the penalty area and he pulled the trigger. Annesley. Gray, scooped forward, headed on by Mills, Belmont, Mills, angled in towards Bashir, space for Bashir to shoot, and it bobbled up awkwardly in front of Sahil Bashir, and as a result, it's saved by Gray at the near post. The football was brilliant, as was Mills's ball, and Bashir saw it pop up in front of him, had to shoot, but Gray could keep it down to the turf. Up the other end, Shea Cooper. Owusu, lengthening his stride. Back to Freddie Simmons. Away by Francis Clark. Still Harry Mills trots forward. Backwards towards Simmons, brought down by Jamie Mullins. Not his best pass of the evening. Annelse's robbed it. Francis has Blackwell in support down the line. Here's Tom Blackwell. Back to the goal scorer, Francis. Looking for a shooting chance. Okanua. And Clampin scythed down by Harry Howell, who was late. Still waiting on the added time. And the word is just 1 minute of it. Likely for the celebrations following the goal. There's been little to no other stoppages in this first half. There's been, in truth, little to report. Both sides at different times enjoying long spells of uninterrupted possession. Both keepers, perhaps only a save each to make of note. Shea Cooper sends in the iron free kick towards the back post. Blackwell was waiting underneath it. Robertson can hack it away. Essex Club will have another throw midway inside Albion territory. All to play for in the second half as we tick towards it. Imagine Braintree now just content to see out the final few seconds, and that they do. Well, the damage done early by the Essex Club. Half-time here at Cressing Road. It is Braintree 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Welcome back to second half coverage of Braintree versus Brighton and Hove Albion in this National League Cup quarter-final. I'm Matt Drabble, your commentator for the evening, and the Seagulls find themselves still trailing by that opening goal, which took just about 17 seconds to arrive from Braintree, right after first half kickoff. 45 minutes for the Albion to find a response and try and book their ticket in the last four in this inaugural season of the National League Cup. A unique competition in its embryonic stages. And in doing so, Brighton and Hove Albion would likely join Leeds, who are 3-1 up now against Aldershot. They've turned that one around. Altrincham, who beat Newcastle United's academy, and Sutton, who dispatched of Manchester United's academy in the Final Four. Braintree Town will get this second half underway with Che Cooper. It was a very quiet first 45. Only a couple of saves for Henry Gray from Howell and Bashir, and very little for Tom McGill to do other than pick the ball out the back of his net in the opening 20 seconds. Aaron Farmer readies the two sides for the second half. The referee puts the whistle to his lips and we are underway. What does final 45 have in store? Will it be the final 45 of the Albion's National League Cup campaign? Mullins up the line, Bashir giving chase. Braintree will have a throw with Aidan Francis-Clark. Previously had loans to Dagenham and Redbridge in his career. Mullins has stolen that high off him. Quick feet from Mullins. Prodded towards Bashir. Throw-in has been given Braintree's way. Penman. Freddie Simmons, line-breaking pass. First time around the corner from Robertson. Here's Tasker, back to Robertson, better from the Albion. Josh Robertson working the space and finding Bashir, and Bashir will find the corner. A sweeping Seagulls move from back to front entered a goal early on in this second half. That is Brighton and Hove Albion at their very, very best. First it was Simmons through the lines, Robertson round the corner, Tasker, Robertson and Bashir, who rolled it past Henry Gray. A team move that will be greatly pleasing to Shannon Ruth in that dugout. Braintree carved open by it. A fantastic team goal has the Seagulls level. They've gone hunting for another. Clampin brought down. That was the quality, the pace of passing, the intensity that was so sorely lacking from both sides in a tepid first half. Forward by Tasker. Helped wide by Penman. Mills in a hurry, couldn't find Bashir. Bashir continues his own personal, very good run of form at the moment. 3 in his last 4 all comps coming into this game. Make that 4 in his last 5 all competitions now. Follow up his recent double in the Premier League 2. The games against Norwich and Leeds. Francis Clark under pressure. The Seagulls have woken up. Here's Harry Howe. Fouled from behind by Francis Clark. Surely will be a booking. And Aaron Farmer confirms that. Well, someone has lit a fire under this young Seagulls team. And now Jamie Mullins will ponder this free kick with Harry Howe. Braintree wall looks pretty close to where this free kick's being taken from, it's fair to say. Aaron Farmer doubles and more the distance in which they were initially stood. Mullins and Howell over it with blue and white shirts in the middle to aim for. Farmer with some sorting out to do first as well. Freddie Simmons at the heart of it. It's an imposing figure, Freddie Simmons. Despite the fact he's still just 16 years of age. 50 minutes on the clock. Brighton and Hove Albion free kick at the beginning of a promising start to the second half. In it goes towards Penman. Away, back in from Howe. Clampin will let it bounce and then send it skyward. Lisby. Howe nibbling in. Got a good chunk of the ball there, Harry Howe. And Farmer has given the free kick regardless. Blackwell with a free kick. It's a long talking to from Aaron Farmer, who's chatting to Jamie Mullins about Harry Howe. He's a player that plays with a fire in his belly and aggressive nature, normally vented in a positive way by the young England international. Maybe Farmer just asking that to be kept in check by the captain. Bashir will take his place as the one-man Albion wall. Blackwell, whose deliveries have caused problems, readies himself to take from the left. Curled in by Blackwell towards the arms of McGill, headed across the face of goal, drops to Lisby, and Lisby has Braintree ahead again. Just one day after signing, Kyrese Lisby smashes home a go-ahead goal for Braintree. The delivery of Blackwell had real quality, and when it bounced back to Lisby, it was a simple finish. One touch off the thigh and a second to drive it in from close range. Only arrived yesterday on loan from Colchester, Kyrese Lisby, to join his brother Kyrell in Essex, and has already opened his account for the Iron. A sucker punch for the Seagulls, who had started this second half ever so brightly. But you must credit the free kick from Tom Blackwell. It was looping, it was spinning, it was into such a dangerous area, and when Okonowo had it back across the face of goal, Lisby was there to tuck it in from close range. More action in the 7 minutes of this second half than we had in the 45 of the first. Full time in the other quarter-final. Leeds United's academy have progressed against Aldershot Town, making them the first 21 side to book their ticket. Seagulls have work to do to join them. Tasker. Okonowo. Clamping up the line. Here's Lisby, the goal scorer. Good drop of the shoulder from Lisby. Mullins came across. Braintree will have throw on the left-hand side. Clampton waiting for the ball to be returned toward him. And I think Ryan Clampton has just realised where the ball is. Thrown in field. Over the top towards Jermaine Francis. Owusu. Mullins loses out in the middle to Okonuwu. Owusu's won it back for the Albion. Then giving it right back to Braintree. Possession changing feet again though to Mullins. Looking for Bashir. Up against Francis Clark. Good feet from Bashir again. Driven back across the face of goal. Howells were lurking with intent. Away by Che Cooper. Jermaine Francis will close down Penman. Jamie Mullins content to drop deep and try and get the Albion playing forward. Can they recreate that one slick move which really sliced through Braintree Town? Penman trying to commit defenders. Good run from Penman. Bashir helping it out to Mills. Up against Blackwell. Mills has threaded it through. A chance perhaps to strike in from Robertson. And it's sailed over. Well, the Albion rather bundled their way into the penalty area. It looked to have broken down for Harry Mills. Good industry just to keep fighting and put it back to Howell. Howell teed up Robertson. And Robertson has not found the back of the net. Henry Gray came out, made himself big. No doubt that was a factor, but still one that Josh Robertson would desperately want back. Have to credit Henry Gray. Flew out, made himself big. Was leaping down at the feet of Robertson. Still, though, have to hit the target in that sort of scenario. Poor challenge on Joe Belmont. Mullins. In from Howe. Mills, now Bashir, who pulled the Albion back level, but only for a moment. There is certainly an added level of jeopardy about the football in this second half. Owusu bending one towards Bashir. The idea was nice. Execution just a few yards off the mark. Iron throw. Aidan Francis Clark, who's been heavily involved so far this evening, will take. Owusu and Howell collide. Clever turn by Jamie Mullins. Bashir now, not a great deal of room to work with. Might not need a great deal of room, Bashir. Helped back towards Tasker. Never quite sat up for the right back. It was magic from Bashir though. Mullins. Mills. Tasker again, still no space to shoot. Harry Howe. A mate evades Jermaine Francis. Mullins. Mullins takes over and strikes goalwards. And arrows one just wide. Better again from the Seagulls. Intricate passing in the final third. Belmont, who's grown into this game, helping it back to Mullins, but Mullins couldn't find the bottom left. There is a second goal in this for the Seagulls, certainly with the way the second half has been played. Henry Gray. A heck of a kick on Henry Gray, as he's shown again. Jermaine Francis off for Che Cooper, and Lisby could be in behind again. The touch is taking him wide. Clampin wants it in support. Now with Clampin. Annesley. Good turn from Clampin. Looks a player of real quality, the Braintree left back. Lisby. Trying to prod it between the legs of Tasker again. Robertson. Joe Belmont. It's fantastic running from Joe Belmont. Well, start of this game a little shaky. Centre forward, promoted from the 18s, has looked really strong in this second half. A couple of really clever touches, kept the ball moving nicely. Aidan Francis Clark in towards Che Cooper. Clampin. Here's Marshall Miranda, who curiously enough is an ex-Albion Academy player himself. Worthing-born midfielder. And left the club in 2019 for Colchester. Blackwell's won it high for Braintree. Well-timed challenge by Owusu. Mullins bouncing up in front of the Irishman. Freddie Simmons. Now slowing down, more akin to the pace we saw in the first half. Braintree happy to sit off. Brighton and Hove Albion with plenty of possession, but rather passive with it. And surely suits the home side. McGill tries to speed things up. Belmont giving chase. Always going to be Henry Gray's ball. From a Wellington Phoenix keeper, his native country of New Zealand. Made the move over to England with Ipswich, and now on loan at Braintree for some experience. Penman. Another brilliant leap by Francis. He's collected it in space. Jermaine Francis driven across the face of goal. Helped away by Slater. Or Charlie Tasker, rather. And Jermaine Francis leaping ahead of Penman, collecting it and driving it towards Lisby. Clampin. Marshall Miranda. Bashir now, scorer of the Albion's equaliser. Penman's taken a chance. Che Cooper's stolen it back for Braintree Town. Jermaine Francis from close range. Well blocked. He's had his chances tonight, Jermaine Francis. Another one fell to him there. Couldn't convert. Good block made in front of goal. Clampin. Strong again from Ryan Clampin. Swept wide. Mills with the throw. Back to Penman. Simmons. Clampin's there again for Braintree Town, and Lisby will take over. Running out of options, Lisby. Owusu slid in. Rare miscue from Clampin. Here's Robertson. Freddie Simmons. Owusu, no space to turn. Will help it on to Penman, and Brighton and Hove Albion can build again from their back four. Bashir will gallop up that left flank, up against Francis Clark. Mullins, as Mills wide on the left, delayed the pass out to him. Braintree back in shape now. Bashir, good decoy run from Mills, in from Bashir. It's right across the Braintree penalty area, and no one in blue and white was there to try and convert. 65 minutes gone. Albion still hunting for an equaliser here in this National League Cup quarter-final. And Bashir's delivery not met. Henry Gray with yet another goal kick. And starting regularly, Henry Gray, 5 clean sheets in 11 games in the National League since arriving from that loan. Helped Braintree to another clean sheet at the weekend against AFC Fylde. That 2-0 away win, which brought the Iron up to 16th and 7 points clear of the relegation zone. And we're going to see a substitution for Braintree Town. Tom Blackwell is off, and John Akinde is on. A journeyman EFL forwards. Started his career with Ebbsfleet, Gravesend and Northfleet. Had a spell at Portsmouth on the south coast. And he'll take his place up top. Big, physical, strong forward. Great reading of the game as well with all his experience. McGill. Tasker. Akinde almost got there. Tasker finds Belmont up top. Now Robertson. Couldn't lay it off to Howell. Belmont will chase down Henry Gray. Coolly done. Bashir trying to make life difficult. Okanua away. Clampin. Now Lisby back to Clampin. Can he squeeze in a cross towards the back post? It's brilliant defending in the end by Mills to get in front of Francis. And Robertson adjudged to have charged into the back of Jermaine Francis. Josh Robertson pleading innocence. Good running from Jermaine Francis. He seems to be enjoying himself this evening. Che Cooper with the resulting Braintree free kick on this left-hand side. Just smacked long by Cooper, who's trying to catch out McGill. Wasn't having any of it on McGill. Simmons. Albion's positive progress at the start of this second half extinguished by that Braintree goal. Haven't really been able to find it again, find that spark again which got them back in this game. Simmons to Mullins. Jamie Mullins. So often the player the Albion look to in this sort of stage. Jamie Mullins, player that had first team experience in Ireland before joining Brighton and Hove Albion with Bohemians. Tasker. Owusu. Simmons to Mullins. Still Braintree hold that shape. Albion preparing a couple of substitutions. Simmons. Harry Howe. Neatly done on the 1-2 from Harry Howe. Clampin trying to get a hold of him. Francis ran out of room. Brighton have Albion throw. And Aaron Farmer, is he pulling this all the way back for the earlier incident? That would be a rather dragged out advantage if that was the case. It appears that's what he is doing. As we're going to see that double switch now for the Seagulls. And we do apologise if you are experiencing any technical difficulties. We'll hope to return to National League Cup action as quickly as we possibly can. Back underway. And we'll get confirmation of those Seagull substitutions when the chance arises. Swing and a miss by Owusu. Gobbled up by Henry Gray. Looks like Ramiro Moulton has come on for the Seagulls out on the right. Mills to take the throw. Backwards to Penman. Here's Moulton. Aidan West also made his way onto the pitch. Here is Aidan West, played back off to Mullins. West and Moulton, two of those to come on. Belmont certainly made way. Looks like Robertson is the other player that's departed. Howe. Attacking infield, Mullins. Mills joining in from left back. Never afraid to get high and wide, Harry Mills. the under-18s. He was once joint top scorer part of the way through the season. 6 goals he chipped in with from fullback. Here he is in behind. Mills looking to drag one across. West almost had a goal with one of his first touches. Gray got there to punch away. Now Akinde dragged down by Owusu. And John Akinde used his experience. There's a lot of it. John Akinde actually played a small part in a bit of Albion history all the way back in the 2010-11 season. Some eagle-eyed Albion fans or keen Albion historians may remember he scored for Dagenham and Redbridge versus Brighton and Hove Albion in the 2011 campaign in the match that secured the Seagulls promotion. 4-3 win for Gus Poyet's side that day. Ryan Clampin, who has probably been Braintree's best player this evening, will make way. His race is run. Bigger tests ahead for Braintree and more important games as they look at really secure survival in the National League. He was outstanding tonight though, the left back. And it will be Matt Robinson that's on in his place. Clampin off, Robinson on. Quarter of an hour left to play, still just the 1 goal in it. Akinde, good header across goal. Might run here for Che Cooper to hit one. McGill got everything behind it, bounced up in front of the Canadian. McGill looking long towards Moulton. Francis Clark to battle with. Francis Clark can see it trickle out of play. This is a iron side that are tough to beat. Lost just 1 of their last 6 in the National League. They're 3rd in the form table. Further back, they've lost just 2 of 10, taking 18 points. At the turn of the year, they were only out of the relegation zone on goal difference. Now they're 7 points clear of it. They've been on a relentless run of form under Steve Pitt. And most of the players you're seeing out there tonight play regularly for them in the National League. It's not a much rotated squad. Bashir. Touch was heavy. Mills. Penman. Trying to inject some pace into this Albion attack. West. Mullins. Trying to cut in field. Tracked by George Langston. Langston follows Mullins out the back line again. Romero Moulton. Tasker. Howe. Owusu back towards Harry Howe. Che Cooper will try and lead a break. Owusu makes the challenge. Had to be careful with that one, Owusu. Went into the book for the earlier foul on Akinde. Albion are inching forward, but not doing so with a great deal of threat at the moment. Maybe Bashir can inject some of that. Sahil Bashir. Simmons. Moulton. Space for Tasker. Lovely spiral. Back out to Howe. Tasker on the overlap. Crossed it into the side netting. It appeared to be, but Gray might have got a touch on it first. Still play on. Forward comes Simmons. Owusu. Tripped from behind by Akinde. Brighton and Hove Albion with a free kick. Here's the cross. It was towards the near post. It came off the post. Looked for all the world that Tasker hadn't got enough on it and was just about to wrap that into the side netting. It spun off the post and back into play. Didn't know whether it was Gray that had clawed it away. Brighton and Hove Albion want to take the free kick quickly, but Aaron Palmer wants to make sure there's enough orange shirts behind the ball first, or necessary distance behind the ball, and some Seagulls frustrations at that fact. Mullins, Mills looked for the return. Braintree sat very deep now. Bashir. Still, Bashir drives on and wins a free kick. And there's a yellow card for Marshall Miranda as well. Well, earned his luck there, Sahil Bashir, just by keeping driving on, and has earned the Albion a free kick and Marshall Miranda a yellow card. And a nice moment here. Kyrese Lisby is going to make way, the goal scorer, and Kyrell Lisby, his brother, is going to come on for him. Kyrese, who scored the second from close range, departs, and Kyrell is on, number 16. His first action will be to help in the defending of this Seagulls free kick in a promising position. 10 minutes left to play. 1 goal in it. In from Mullins towards Owusu. And so frustrating at this late stage to see that trickle harmlessly into touch. Down the line it goes. Howell nods it back to where it came from. Aidan West putting pressure on. Mullins. Howell. Francis Clark has lost out to Harry Howell. Now Ramiro Moulton. Away from Francis Clark. Tasker. Back towards Freddie Simmons, and the Seagulls will build again. They've had an utter stranglehold of possession over the last 10 minutes, but he's still yet to really test Henry Gray. A side that is still figuring out quite how to play together. You see the benefit of having a group for an extended period of time. This is Seagulls 11 that have been thrown together from different age groups of late. A reminder, if you are watching us via the Albion's YouTube channel this evening, there's plenty more brilliant content to get your teeth into, including the latest episode of Brighton Unlocked, which will contain a behind-the-scenes look in that of that dramatic victory over Fulham, including pitch-side footage and a trip inside the dressing room to hear the words of Fabian Hertzler. You don't want to miss that. Albion's 6th win in a row in all competitions. Aidan Francis Clark. Jermaine Francis hooked in towards Lisby. Moulton, good header away that by Tasker. Harry Howell prodded forward to Moulton. Owusu keeps it moving. Mills up the line to Bashir. Mullins, still the ball at the feet of the Albion. Mullins Tried to help himself into the penalty area. Francis can slam away. Mills, Bashir. All a bit too tight and congested in and around there. And Matt Robertson's clearance finds the tall frame of Akinde. Back with the Albion. They'll carry it forward again. The pressure is building. Is there going to be a payoff? Howe beautifully dinked towards Mullins. Henry Gray had read it. Looped forward. Akinde was jumping. Simmons will take back over. Well, it's been conceding late on in games. It's been the problem for the Albion recently. They need to score late on here against Leeds at the weekend. Conceded a very late goal after Bashir's opener. That was the theme against Aston Villa in their previous Premier League 2 game before the Leeds game as well. What can they pluck out? To take this one to penalties, it would be straight to penalties if the Seagulls can find an equaliser. Simmons. Howe. Beautifully carved an opening out for Bashir, who will shoot again. Owusu. The right back tasker now. Crossing left-footed, good area, hacked away. Simmons on halfway. Bashir wants it back. Safer option is to Penman sideways. 4.5 minutes plus stoppage time for the Seagulls. Moulton. Lovely run this from Ramiro Moulton. Still he goes on. Wants a free kick for the challenge by Lisby. Aaron Farmer unmoved. Then Akinde could prod it forward towards Lisby again. And Simmons will send it out of play. Ramiro Moulton making the case. He got his body the wrong side of Lisby. And Aaron Farmer adamant in his decision. Despite the appeals from Ramiro Moulton. Annesley will send the throwing backwards. Aidan West applying pressure, miss hit by Gray, runs for Mullins. Can the Seagulls make Braintree pay? Not this time. Moulton. Harry Howe, scooped towards Aidan West, headed clear. Good strength from Owusu. Mills, Yusuf Owusu. Good ball into Moulton, popped up awkwardly in front of him. Harry Howe steals it back off Miranda. Stuck to the toes of Harry Howe. Another awkward bounce in front of Simmons, but he'll keep it rolling. Penman, Mills, surely the chances coming now for the Seagulls. Mills couldn't latch onto it, and at the end of a really promising spell of possession with Braintree Town pinned deep, the ball is safely in the arms of Henry Gray. Long from Gray, slipped again. The distribution just lapsing in the last couple of phases. Bashir. Howe's let it run. Lisby can help it backward. Moulton fouled by Marshall Miranda.
Substitution for Brighton coming on, number 78, Shane NTI.
And on comes Shane NT.
Sahil Bashir.
And Sahil Bashir is going to make way. And that is Shane NT coming on. And as we had confirmed, that is spelt NTI by the stadium announcer. Delivery to come in from Harry Howell on this right-hand side. Be a left-footed in-swinger from Howell. Late on for the Seagulls. Hits the first man. Mills. Work to Mullins. Harry Howell again. Whipping one towards the back post. And T was waiting. Mullins. Into stoppage time now. There'll be 4 minutes of it for the Seagulls to keep their National League Cup dream alive. They have put so much pressure on this Braintree Town penalty area late on. Strikes Harry Howland away. He's just lacked that killer ball, that clinical instinct around the penalty area. Something that only really comes with age, with maturity, which this group are still discovering. Tough test coming up in the Premier League 2 again against second-placed Fulham. It was the position the Albion occupied for most of this season, second in the table, but the recent run of 7 without a win has seen them drop to 7th. Akinde, marvellous work that by Simmons. Moulton. Mullins prodding it forward, and T across the face of goal. West's there, but so too was Annesley to hack clear. Penman now. Again, it's chipped forward, headed down into the path of West, and the offside flag up against Freddie Simmons. He'd taken his place as a makeshift forward, but what a chance for West. Great cross by NT. And West and Simmons both waiting for it to bounce in front of them. In the end, Braintree scramble clear. They can almost reach out and touch it now. The semi-finals of the National League Cup, Braintree Town. To make it 3 out of 4 for the non-league sides. It would be only Aldershot that fell to Leeds. Unless Brighton and Hove Albion can produce something special here and try and force penalties. Ball rather hopeful from Tasker. Penman. One more charge forward perhaps, a little over a minute to try and do it. Given away by Mills. Smashed into touch. Seagull's throw. Penman. Owusu. Freddie Simmons. Jamie Mullins. He's being followed everywhere he goes, Jamie Mullins, but he's picked out and T. Crossed in towards West. Gray punches and helped away 30 seconds now for the Albion. Mullins. Past Akinde, slipping, sliding, looking for room. Penman, Tasker, and T. There's nowhere for the Albion to go. Owusu will have to win this loose ball. Aaron Farmer checks his watch, puts the whistle to his lips, and the Seagulls National League Cup campaign is over. Braintree Town progress to the Final Four, and it finishes here. Braintree Town 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1.
In the National League. Again, thank you for support and have a safe journey home.